Jobberman Nigeria has called for inclusion in the world of work for marginalized groups in Nigeria. Speaking at the Roundtable on Technology and Employment Inclusion in Marginalized Context events in Abuja, an event put together by Jobberman Nigeria in partnership with the MasterCard Foundation, the CEO of the African Talent Company warns that technology must be a force for inclusion and not exclusion.
The world of work is changing rapidly, from artificial intelligence to digital platforms, remote jobs, and the rise of the gig economy. But amid this evolution lies a serious risk: the exclusion of marginalized groups like women, persons with disabilities, and internally displaced persons from opportunities that could transform their lives. Jobberman has been in forefront of bridging this gap. Speakers here say, as Nigerians' infrastructure and literacy expands, integrating inclusive tech practice is crucial to unlocking employment and income gains, especially for the marginalized groups.
5% of women in marginalized contexts have access to a job or found a client through WhatsApp. And the question now becomes, how do we move away from big websites, from courses that require 5 GBs of data, to something a lot more accessible? One of the things Jobberman has done is that we have all our courses available on WhatsApp. It costs 200 MB in terms of data accessibility. It's voice notes, it's graphics, it's a lot user-friendly. So if we're developing technology for people within marginalized contexts, think about what's most accessible to them in terms of affordability, accessibility, and usage.
Currently, we are delivering training in partnership with Arifu, to people in this marginalized context using WhatsApp. We are also leveraging WhatsApp, to try to connect employers to job seekers in this context. So again, we are also taking some of these learnings, we are implementing it in the way we are working. We have job centers now across about 14 states. Just also how do we get closer to those young people? Because sometimes there is a geographical barrier.
I would focus more on the barriers in answering your question on inclusive hiring.
This panelist emphasized the need to remove barriers in employing persons from marginalized groups.
A lot of us are now being more deliberate and intentional with redesigning our work environment. Yes, it may seem slow, and like Razak said, it's not a sprint. If you heard my story before, years ago this happened, but you have to now be intentional and not rush to the end, because you just want to make sure that you're cooking a good broth. And at the end of the day, more people can eat from that.
We should create that avenues and breaking the barriers, removing the discrimination and stigmatization, where we don't see persons with disability as a lesser human being, rather as a very important aspect of economic development, that being a person with disability should not be excluded in any technology or innovation.
A key highlight of the event was the presentation and validation of a new research report titled Technology and Employment Inclusion in Marginalized Contexts. The report, which explores how digital platforms can unlock access to meaningful employment for marginalized populations, can be accessed on jobberman.com/research.